Hello, my friends. Good morning. How are you? So, I titled this one down here, Dance Like Nobody's Watching. So, you've all heard that saying where we get to, laugh, blah, 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 but dance like nobody's watching. So, be uninhibited, be free, be you. And that's such an exciting feeling, isn't it? Like, if we could dance like nobody's watching. But of course, I want to dance like nobody's watching, but dance really well anyways. Like if they were watching, they would be like, oh my gosh, she's such a good dancer. So this idea about dancing like nobody's watching, I'm going to set that aside for a minute. I want to talk about in actions. I want you to act in your business like everybody's watching. And it started when I'm thinking about act and I'm listening to, honestly, I'm listening to on the podcasts in the election results through the country and how people are voting like everybody's watching. And so with these sleepy areas that are going on, and is that people are showing up to vote, and their vote is counting. And I think about, uh, well, I think about us, and I think about how our actions as realtors, we need to act we need to act like everybody's watching. Okay, so let me give you an example. So first I want to start off by talking about when I became a mom. And I was not a natural mother. I have a sister who's a supernatural mother, and like when we go to the mall, and she talks to every baby that she sees, and she's like so connected, and she was a labor and delivery nurse, and now she works at Tabor, so she's still involved with kids, and she's just like the quintessential mom. And me, like I got married kind of late, I had children kind of late. I I did not have that same kind of instinct, I would say, that that my sister did, and that many people did. And I was like, oh God, how do I do this? And I remember people saying, like, your children watch everything that you do. And I'm like, everything? Like, can't they just watch like my highlight reel? And the answer is no, right? And we've learned that through the years. So now let's take this and let's put it in the context of our business. So last year there was a standard of practice at the National Association of Realtors, a new standard of practice that said that on social media we cannot do hate epithets or racial slurs or and those kinds of things, even on our personal page profile, right? And people were like, "What? That's just you're getting at my rights." And the premise on that was that people are always watching everything you're doing, everything that you post, and people are combining, just like those communities that got the vote up for these upsets going on around the country, is that these people are watching and they're acting. And so, how does this affect us in our business? Is there's a lot of times that I will say something to one of my clients. And I've been thinking about this because I've been teaching more. And when they can't get me for, let's say, 6 hours, and then I talk with them, they're almost like, where have you been? And I say, well, I've been teaching. So, as soon as I get done or as soon as I get a break, I responded. And to them, it doesn't feel good enough. So they're like, I don't care if you're teaching. You're supposed to be my agent, and you're supposed to be doing everything for me. And and again, I am paraphrasing, and I am blowing up, like I'm exaggerating, right? So what does this mean? So this means that, like, when we post that we're like away for a weekend unplugged, they see that as a betrayal. And when we post that we're doing something else, they see it as we're not there for them. So what I want to make sure that we are just mindful of is, how do we mindfully be able to do, like, we still got to be ourselves and we still have to have an outside life. How do we create those boundaries? And one of the things that I am learning is that it's not going to be that I can say to them, hey, I need a life too, and I'm going to shut off at this time. I mean, how many of you guys have, like, if you haven't answered a text within like a half hour, you get another one. Did you see my text? Did you see my text? Right. So the answer is setting boundaries up front and just saying, I am going to be here for you, and I'm going to be responding as fast as I can. I'm going to be doing the best that I can. But I do shut off my phone at 8 o'clock at night. I don't text during the middle of the night. There are times that I won't be available for periods of time. And, like this, like Steve Medeiros, our Massachusetts Association of Realtors president right now, if you listen to his voicemail, he says, I return phone calls between this period in the morning and this period in the afternoon. So many people might be like, well, what if I want to talk to him in the middle of those times? But he had to set boundaries. And his answer to them is, I will get to you and I will be my A game during those times, but I can't be scrapping around, trying to bend over backwards, like contorting to be everything, because I can't, right? So so my point here, and there is a happy ending here, our actions, setting boundaries, like we did with our kids, right? Setting boundaries now, setting boundaries and clearly communicating what to expect from us, just like we did with our kids. So we have the opportunity to say, this is how I will respond. This is what's happening. I want to walk you through this. And sometimes we think that they should just know. I have a feeling that one of my clients right now thinks that I'm not the best communicator. And I try to communicate the best I can. And I don't like we have a little bit of a communication gap. And I am trying in my actions to be as the best that I can in the situation that I'm in, that we're in. And it's just so interesting because I'm like, sometimes I feel that we've put ourselves in this unrealistic image as real estate professionals to our clients and the public. And anyway, I don't know where I'm going on this. But I do know what I want our takeaway to be is that people are watching. Really, we need to be clear about what it is that we want to be saying. And then that's what our actions are going to say. Okay. So if that's, I am organized and these are my times that I will respond, I will be away on a conference, I will do this, I will check in at these times, that the end result is I'm a better professional and we have a better profession for you and a better, homeowner's opportunity by these investments of time, but there will be blocks of time that I'm not there. Right. So setting the expectations and making sure that we're clear about it. All right, so I got to put on my glasses here. I got a comment that I want to talk about. I'm seriously learning how important boundaries are. They're actually the best form of communication when they've been clearly established, which is so much harder in practice than theory, for sure. And I got to bring it around to my puppy, and then I'm gonna sign off. But my puppy, we set boundaries on, you sleep in the crate, we take you for walks at these times, you go outside and you do this at these times, right? So we're training the puppy. And then the other night, my husband's like, well, what if we just let the puppy stay in bed with us? Right. And I'm like, oh, now we are going to unlearn 11 months of learning, and of course, there's a little bit of a sad little story about like reestablishing boundaries on this one. But yeah, no, let's see if we can't like just up level ourselves in our actions to try to communicate as best as we can exactly what we want to be communicating and not be doing that in fear, doing it by mindfully preparing and then working our way through it, and on that, I'm just going to say goodbye because this one has not really rolled. I tell you, sometimes they roll well and sometimes they don't. This one really hasn't rolled well. Oh, well, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and I am just so grateful for you. Thanks so much.